Yeah.
Arms collection.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Unusual Suspects. We have a banger for you guys today. Brandon's here. Amy Dangerfield's out. She has some good news coming out. She has an announcement she'd like to make in a second. Humberto's here. Rob is here. Rob just showed us something really, really funny, but we can't share with you guys because it's top secret and you guys don't have the clearance. But anyway, guys, we have a lot to talk about today. Luigi Mangione might go free. We're going to talk about that, which is freaking bananas. It's bonkers. The FBI cracks down on a satanic pedophile cult. What's going on with the airlines? We're going to talk about, there's a bunch of stuff happening with the airlines and flight attendants and freaking, what do they call the ones that work in the airport? The kiosk? Ground crew. Yeah, if that's what you call them. P. Diddy's trial begins, and then Trump bans funding for gain-of-function research. Another notch on the belt for Trump. But, guys, before we even get into everything, so if you guys have been following this, James O'Keefe, who I'm going to say this, is the best investigative reporter out there right now. Nobody holds a flame to this guy. He's been around, mind you, since old school, Breitbart, what was it called? What was the story? Acorn. He exposed Acorn and what these people were doing with children. And anyway, James O'Keefe a couple weeks ago was like, guys, I'm going dark. He has a kill switch that he left with who? With Alex Jones. He's doing some reporting that's very dangerous.
Well, that's the worst person to leave a kill switch with,
right?
Because they'll just kill him and they'll go two birds with one stone.
By the way, you don't tell people who the kill switch is. Right. You don't make it public. But anyway,
a decoy.
Probably. He's doing this deep dive on freaking Epstein and the list, and he has videos. The first video came out was the royal family's fixer, John Bryan or something like that?
Yes, John Bryan.
John Bryan, who revealed that he said, and out of his words, that Prince Andrew was sleeping with underage girls, full stop. So now James O'Keefe comes out with this video. And guys, apparently he records Pam Bondi, Attorney General Pam Bondi, speaking at lunch with either her nanny or a girl, whoever the hell it was, some female, and says the FBI is going through tens of thousands, not 1,000, not 10,000, tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with underage girls and child porn, all right? Put that aside. He, out of the goodness of his heart, calls the office and tells Pam Bondi, hey, listen, we have this video of you. The next day, Pam Bondi comes on the White House lawn and she freaking admits it. Not an official statement. She's on the White House lawn. Rob, you want to set this up? Is that basically what this is?
Yes, and it's very interesting because Pam Bondi comes out, and you'll see this because Project Veritas, I'm sorry, not Project Veritas, which is weird because if you watch the video that James O'Keefe did on Tuesday about John Bryan, the royal family's fixer, at the end of that clip, it shoots back to James O'Keefe. He's standing in front of a sign that says Project Veritas, and he points to it, acknowledges it, and says, more to come soon. But he was kicked out of that organization.
His own organization.
But he does a really great job in this video, he and the crew at O'Keefe Media Group, where they juxtapose the recording of Pam Bondi, where she is talking about the thousands of hours of Epstein videos that they have been watching, and he compares that to the announcement that she makes on the White House lawn, and it's word for word the same thing. It's really interesting to watch. Here it is.
Yesterday, Attorney General of the United States Pam Bondi was at the White House and disclosed what she represented as brand new information in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, the existence of tens of thousands of videos featuring little children.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, this is the first time an official has publicly acknowledged that videos of Epstein and his victims exist. What you may not know is just 9 days prior, the Attorney General had a very similar conversation with a total stranger in a restaurant.
Do you know when the Epstein Files are going to get released?
We hope soon. The FBI's been...
Okay.
So,
any dates?
No, you know what it is? There are tens and thousands videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one.
In the past, officials have spoken about the, quote, mountain of evidence in the Epstein case, but they've never, previous to that moment, acknowledged on the existence of videos of, quote, little kids. Just a few days later, at 2 p.m. on May 1st, our reporter sent the AG's office the text of the recording. We asked why this detail had not been disclosed to the public, but was instead being told to a random stranger at a restaurant. The Attorney General used almost the exact same language as she did with the stranger in the restaurant, language that we shared with her press office.
There are tens of thousands of videos, and it's all with little kids.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Now, we hesitated to publish this story, but believe, like we did yesterday, that the public has a right to know. And this one raises serious questions.
Okay, you can stop.
On one hand,
okay, first of all, because I want to hear briefly everybody's thoughts. Epstein is with tens of thousands on video with tens of thousands of.
How's that even possible?
I think they're miswording it. Is it all his clients, Amy? Is it a bunch of
thousands
Yeah,
of
I don't.
videos?
Yeah, I
tens
think,
of thousands of videos?
But
Meaning,
she says that some of them are featuring him, some of them are not. Like there's
okay, so it's
there's-
everybody.
Yeah, there's child videos and there's
Okay.
videos featuring him.
Tens of thousands of videos of adults having sex with children.
So
Yes.
here's my thing. You have to go through all of them. You mean to tell me that there's people on there that are walking around right now that they know that they're just letting walk around because they have to sit there and watch all these videos?
Before they arrest somebody.
apparently.
What the
That's-
does that make sense?
No.
to anybody,
I mean,
Rob?
it makes sense when you start to think a little bit more critically and you realize, like, hey, clearly there is people who they are trying to avoid going after. Now, why is that? Why are some people really protected in this situation? I don't know. We could throw a number of theories out there, but yeah, I think that there's definitely somebody whose name is complicit on that list, and it would be a very, very big deal if their name got out, and that's the reason why this thing hasn't been pursued.
You know what I think though? I think it's significant that you know, I don't know about Pam Bondi's past and what she might have been into. She was the Attorney General for Florida, but the fact that she doesn't have kids and she's a woman, I think is really significant because, you know, even if she's not like caught up in all these weird stuffs with her past career and all that, like any woman who chooses not to have kids, I think is legitimately defective. Like the same way that like a psychopath is defective because it's your biological imperative to want to have kids if you're a woman normally. But like if you can't have kids, that's one thing. That's an unfortunate thing.
Brandon
But-
with the hot take
No, no,
saying
Brandon,
childless women and
I think
psychopaths are like
what
similar
you're saying
equivalents.
is uncalled. Like that's her private business.
No,
And
but
se-
like
and
she's not gonna have that
second,
soft of a spot for
well,
kids.
but
She
but
doesn't have
that's a
kids.
good angle.
Brandon, she's a professional, and I think people are being unfair to her because I think first of all, the previous administration was sitting on this for 9 years. All right,
We know what their deal is. This-
9 years sitting on this, and like it or not, how things went. All right, with James O'Keefe or whatever, she was the first person. This is the first time ever a public official speaks on it.
Okay.
All right, we don't know what's behind. We don't know at what risk she is, but there was hundreds of thousands of public officials that had access to the information. And I have to give her credit for being the first one to speak
And
on
I'm
it.
gonna-
But she was
Well, I
pressured
mean,
to,
but-
though. No credit for her. She was pressured to.
But hold on, because I want to go to
agree
you.
with
Hold
that.
on, pressure. I'm gonna go to you right now. Wait a minute. She was the Attorney General here in Florida when Epstein was being the disgusting piece of shit, and they all had it, and they all sat on the AG that was before her was doing some big time shady shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I get what you're saying, but it's like every time, and bro, and then Virginia Giuffre suicides herself. I knew this was coming. We knew that as soon as that happened, I said it on the PBD podcast. I go, something's coming. Something's coming. That's why she's dead. And this happens. Go ahead, Rob.
I agree with Brandon that I don't think Pam Bondi deserves credit for coming out and telling the update on the Epstein Files if she was pressured into coming out. They forced her hand. She had to come out and say it. Otherwise, James O'Keefe, in that email, he said, we're going to go public with this information. I have a bigger problem with her telling this information to what James O'Keefe called a nanny at lunch in a restaurant, as opposed to coming immediately to the American people and letting us know the update. The only reason we know right now that there are thousands of tapes involving Jeffrey Epstein with those girls is because of Pam Bondi, but it's because Pam Bondi was pressured to release that information because of James O'Keefe.
Isn't that a crime too? And I mean, you got to ask the question: if she maybe if she feels guilty to get that out, and somebody's asking her, she let it slip in that moment. So who's pressuring her to not let it out? Who's pressuring Kash Patel to not let it out? Like she's Kash Patel's boss, Trump's her boss. So is it
who do you
ultimately
guys
coming?
think?
I mean,
If you had to Brandon, and if you had to guess, who are the people? I want like a name. Give me 2 or 3 names of people that are like, hey, President Trump, AG Bondi, Kash Patel, that have that access. Shut don't you dare put that shit out there, or we're gonna make all this. The whole system's coming down.
So I went down a rabbit hole recently, listened to like experts on this topic talk about it. This guy named Nick Bryant, who's like an expert in the Franklin cover-up case and like became an expert in the Epstein case. He said it's like an identical situation, the Epstein situation and the Franklin cover-up situation. So what that was, like, it's 100% like disclosed that it was a weird like rogue element of the CIA that was like doing these blackmail things. But when they basically like find a pedo, they catch him in the act and say, hey, you could either go to jail or you could work for us, blackmail people, and you could like, you know, bleep all the kids you want.
Yeah, because once they have footage of you, think about that. Once they have you, like, either you kill yourself, which happens, or it's like what feds do with confidential human resources. They got you. That's what all the people that they were talking about.
That's undeniable.
That's undeniable.
There was a guy named
running the show.
There's a guy named Craig Spence that worked for the Reagan administration, and like he was the guy that was like a pedo, and he got caught doing it, or Nick Bryant speculates he got caught doing it at one point, because at one point he just like basically starts like working on their behalf as a guy who recruits people and like gets the blackmail, but he actually liked doing the shit. So they find somebody who liked doing it and say like, hey, you could do all you want.
You keep being a pervert.
Yeah.
Watch that's how the FBI. The FBI catches you doing shit. They say exactly what you say. You go to jail or you work for us, and you're their bitch for the rest of your life.
The person that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and whoever's investigating the Jeffrey Epstein files, if they're actually even investigating them. I know that Pam Bondi is caught on camera saying that they are, but what did it, day one, Kash Patel said, we'll release it. Here we are 70 some odd days later. It hasn't come out. The person that they need to talk to on September 24th of 2007, Jeffrey Epstein signed the sweetheart deal. Remember, that was when he was arrested in 2006 for the trafficking of minors here in Palm Beach. The Southern District of Florida U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta was the one that gave him that sweetheart deal. Well, Alexander Acosta in 2000 and... what year was it? I don't know. I believe it was 2019.
Oh, okay.
He was up for a labor position in the Trump administration, and during the vetting of that process, they asked him about that sweetheart deal, and he said, this is the guy that gave Jeffrey Epstein the original deal that allowed him to work remote. And remember, the sweetheart deal was Jeffrey Epstein, who's accused of raping underage girls, he's allowed to go home and work from home and spend the days at home and then come back in to jail, check in at night and sleep in jail, and then go back to his home. Alexander Acosta, when questioned about why he gave that sweetheart deal, says in 2019, I was told, and I quote, Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. Ask that guy! That's the starting point. If they haven't talked to Alexander Acosta, there you go, Kash Patel. I've given it to you. Why did he get a sweetheart deal? Alexander Acosta has some explaining to do, and that guy disappeared off the face of the planet. Nobody has heard one thing about him. Seen him.
You familiar with Cindy McCain, John McCain's wife?
Yes.
So do you hear the quote that she said about Epstein?
No.
Somebody asked her the same thing, and she's like, yeah, we all knew Epstein belonged to intelligence and that he was doing this stuff.
I did see
and
that.
She said,
they all knew.
Everybody was afraid to touch her or talk about it, though.
And what was the name of the local
roaming around
judge?
Congress that they all know about.
Brian, that pisses me off so much.
Yeah, no, it's like the thing.
You guys have no idea how much
the
this
judge from West
fucking
Palm
infuriates
Beach?
me.
I'm looking.
The question is, though, what leverage do they have over at Trump? Like, that's the scary part.
Well, I don't think it's directly Trump. I think it's the people. This is my opinion. Some people around him that they're like, hey, listen, I've done all this for you. Please don't let this come out because we're on there. It might be relationships. It might be family. Dude, I've heard some crazy shit about Ivanka and Jared. I've heard their names in these conversations too. And another what if that I saw on the internet was like, maybe that's why they weren't involved with this administration, this last campaign.
Right.
I don't know, bro. But like we said, we talked about this before. I don't care if the entire system crumbles. You guys, all of these disgusting people, the most powerful people in the world are pedophiles. Period. End of story. End of story. And then when you talk about something like Pizzagate, they're like, oh, you're crazy. It's far-fetched. Bullshit. 300,000 fucking kids missing? Really? And we're crazy. Tens of thousands. Think about that. Tens of thousands of tape of children either getting raped or child porn, and we're the kooks. We're the crazy ones. The FBI, bro, you know how long tens of thousands is going to take? That means a group of people have to sit there and watch these videos. Are you kidding me?
And you know that I know one of the stories too is that they're doing sting operations on some of these things, right? So I don't buy that for a second. I think it's just like drugs where they get the small ones, the small operators, and same thing with the pedos. They get the small ones, but they leave the big ones alone because, you know, it's like some weird, powerful network that they have with those two things. Like they rely on drugs and then they all seem to be into the pedo stuff.
Bro.
I mean, it's the same with like in even drugs as well. You know, like they will get the smaller drug dealers to take the fall for
like
the
a
big
trophy.
ones. Yeah,
Of course.
You're right, Vinny, and I think we're going to get to this in a later story. But the world is controlled by pedophiles because the world is controlled by Satanists, and the two are like oftentimes mutually exclusive. There's a lot to be said about the occult and the grip and power that it has over all of the major institutions that exist in this world. And these are evil people who literally worship the devil and practice Satanism.
I'm happy you bring that up because we're going to go right to this next freaking story. The FBI, this is what Brandon, you were talking about.
Yep.
Crackdown on satanic pedophile cult. All right, this week, Operation Restore Justice, a 5-day nationwide FBI initiative, resulted in the rescue of 115 children and the arrest of 205 alleged child sex predators across all FBI 55 field offices. Those arrested include law enforcement, military personnel, teachers, medical professionals, and community leaders, illustrating that offenders span all sectors of society. That goes to exactly what the hell you're talking about. Guys, it's not about flesh and blood. It's literally about evil. And once you adopt that, once you accept the fact that it's not what, like, you have to think in that world. You have to. Okay, and mind you, they're not slowing down. These perverts know what happens when you get caught as a pedophile. They double down.
And Vinny, that's what I was saying to Brandon. Like, these are the first people to show signs of caring and trying to do something about it. So I'm gonna
Where?
right now.
What's the sign?
What do you mean?
He's saying at least now, if I'm not mistaken, at least now he's saying at least they're coming out. At least they're saying it. At least they're saying, hey, something's gonna be done. But
they promised it like emphatically though, and like they've only done it because we've been pressuring the hell out of them.
All right, let's get into the story, and you're gonna see.
Okay.
Like,
all right. Yeah. So this
Let's
is
get into it.
So this is this actually Kash Patel's Twitter account?
Yeah, that's verified. It has the FBI logo next to the verification.
So should I read
check.
this, Connor? Connor, you could talk to me, Connor.
You sleeping?
Okay. So I encourage everyone to read the story on the Violent 764 network and how the FBI is working to law enforcement to fight back. It's deeply disturbing, but critically important to understand what's out there and be aware of these threats to Americans and American families are facing. The criminals on these networks use online platforms to target vulnerable kids, coerce victims, and recruit others, and other recruiting and horrible cases of abuse. It's absolutely tragic, and I want people to know we're cracking down hard. Remember last week we announced agents and partners arrested alleged leaders within the 764 were open. Hundreds of cases around the country, and our field offices are fully engaged. This is a priority for myself, FBI Dan Bongino, I haven't heard of him for a while, and our leadership team. Those who come after American children will face justice. We will be relentless in pursuing them. We hope we have updates very soon. Thank you for our teams and our partners for, what was it saying? Treating an issue the gravity it deserves, working around to protect our children. So when did this come out? When did that come out? Like recently?
Yeah.
The past week.
Now, is it because, so do you think, Brandon, this is just something to be like, okay, we're doing something, but it's not the main.
Yeah, I think they're throwing us a bone because, like, if you're watching tens of thousands of hours of this happening with the Epstein network, so like, where you're saying you have to finish it all the way to the end before you start arresting people.
That's
like,
what I'm
Like, you
saying.
can clearly see who's on the thing.
You see them.
Yeah, so why can't you, like, what do they have, like 100,000 employees in the FBI? You can't start deploying that to go get
for
them?
sure. What?
You know, like, look at the ridiculous amount of forces and firepower used for like things that are far less important than this.
Okay, so ready for this? At the same time, the FBI has identified a group of Satan-worshiping neo-Nazi pedophile, so-called 764, who befriend teenagers through popular online platforms and then coerce them into escalating sexual and violent behavior, pushing victims to create graphic pornography, harm family pets, and cut themselves with sharp objects, or even die by suicide. And what's this right here? Arrest mark.
Significant takedown within violent online networks. So it looks like they're referring to this one guy in particular who was arrested on,
What's
I
his
think I
name?
saw the 22nd.
War 21. He's a citizen of the United States, residing in what the hell is that, in Greece?
Yeah, and Nepal, known as Trippy. 20 of North Carolina.
He was arrested and charged for operating an international child exploitation enterprise known as 764, a nihilistic, violent, and extremist NVE network. I can't read that name. Was arrested yesterday in Greece, Nepal, and in 2025, and in North Carolina, and had a court hearing in Washington D.C. are proceeding in both. So what? This is like one of the main ringleaders.
So you're talking about one guy here, and they call it a network.
Yes, one guy, but I'm saying like he's behind all of this shit. But it's like, bro, this is. I kind of feel where Brandon's coming from. This is a bone. Don't get me wrong. Good.
100 children saved, like
Good.
200 people arrested, but I agree with you. This is definitely like the smaller level of things.
Yeah, because listen, on a legal term, I don't know because I'm not a lawyer. If you've seen a video today of Rob with an underage kid. Yeah, sorry, Rob.
That video doesn't exist, just to be clear.
Well, you know what? The cops should have already arrested you, Rob. The FBI, everybody should grab you because if you have done that and you're still walking around, who's to say you're not doing it tonight? That's what, dude, this all stinks to high heaven. And I will bet we aren't going to see not this low level shit, not one big name, not Andrew, not Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton has allegedly been all over Epstein Island and on this airplane.
Oh, when he was in the governor's house, he had, I guess I say allegedly, but he, what's his name? Sean Atwood said that there was cocaine and underage girls in the governor's house when Bill Clinton was governor. So he was like partying it up like a disgusting.
Allegedly, yeah, but
I said allegedly at the beginning. Yeah. I said Sean Atwood said that in his book.
Sean Atwood said it.
Yeah. What is the punishment? Did they haven't been found guilty yet because they were just arrested, so they haven't gone through the trial process. But in your guys' opinion, like, what is the solution to pedophilia?
Death. I'm telling you right now, and I know Humberto, if you hear me out. If you are convicted, meaning you have raped a child and it's in court and you are found guilty, you need to die.
Quickly.
You need to, I don't want, just you need to die. Because you know what you've done to that child? That kid is ruined forever. Bro, I remember getting a wedgie in school by this kid. Javon was his name. I'll never forget that. The pain that from a wedgie as a kid. Imagine getting flown somewhere against your will, tied up, raped by these people, and now you have to live with that for the rest of your life, and he gets to walk around and sit in a jail cell? Absolutely not.
And in
death penalty.
And in some cases, the kids get thrown in jail for perjury, like in the Franklin cover-up. The kid that
Imagine that.
got raped, that testified.
And you know what they do? And here's
jail.
what's crazy. A lot of people don't know this aspect. So typically speaking, if it is a pedophile group that is big enough, it's enough to really cause a stir, it would mess things up if people were aware of who was complicit within it. They actually utilize something called gang stalking that they use to intimidate the people who are trying to testify and to discredit their testimony in court. So they'll essentially stalk them and do all of these things to make these people feel like they're losing
crazy,
their mind. And then when they start to speak out about it, they sound insane. It completely discredits their testimony, and they either end up dropping the case because they're still getting stalked and they think they're going to die, or they discredit themselves on the stand due to everything that's happened to them. And this is spearheaded by people in the police force, in the FBI. I mean, guys, if there are judges that are literally trying to protect illegals, you don't think that there are people in the FBI and high up in government who are protecting pedophiles? Without a shadow of a doubt, it's happening. And it's sick, it's disgusting.
On the flip side, and I'm still gonna be positive, because if we're grateful that something is going on, like what's the motivation of them doing it? Like, there's 115 kids that were rescued, and I celebrate that 150 kids were rescued, and that over 200 guys are being arrested.
Yeah.
And even if it's a start, I commend Cash Patel and Pam Bondi. I know it's too little, too late. It's not fast enough. It's not like the big rate that we're all wishing for. But that's 115 kids that are now safe, and 200 less of this demon.
So real quick, real quick, 'cause I'm gonna go to Rob last. What's their punishment? A pedophile caught.
Yeah, I agree with death, and where corporal punishment doesn't exist, then castration, jail for life.
Humberto, I'm gonna go to you last.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Death.
Death.
To her point, castration seems to be the only effective measure. So one of the things when I was looking through the stories we were covering today, I wanted to find out like what are the ways that they try and rehabilitate sex
Because there aren't
offenders.
cures. There aren't.
No, and what they did, there's cognitive behavioral therapy that can reduce reoffending between 30 to 40% in individuals. So it's not even 50%, 30 to 40% may not reoffend. When it comes to chemical castration, though, 80% of a reduction in deviant urges. So there's still 20% of people who get castrated. That's crazy.
And they
that's still like that they can't stop. They have to get their hands on those
is
kids.
just
So
purely
to me,
mental.
it goes to either chemical castration or death is the only way to solve this issue.
Because it's the only way to actually.
I see a darkness in
fix
their
it.
eyes, though, and Pam Bondi and Cash Patel's eyes, like from before they started till now. I see like a
It's a
look of
different-
defeat in their
it
eyes,
is a- it is a
like a
different
look
look.
of like, oh, I'm holding in this stuff and I can't do anything about it because I'm helpless.
Yeah. All right, guys, I got to move on to the next story. All right, guys, Luigi Mangione might go free. Dude, it's just how much more negative stuff can you hear what's happening in this freaking country, bro? Luigi Mangione's attorney have filed multiple motions to dismiss the case, contending that key evidence, including statements and items seized during Mangione's arrest at Pennsylvania McDonald's, should be suppressed because the arresting officer did not have a warrant to search his backpack and did not read him his Miranda rights. If a judge agrees, the entire case could fall apart, and one of the most high-profile murder trials in recent memory could blow up over a mistake made by a female officer. This right here, Connor put up the defense filing screenshot. That's it. There's no body-worn camera footage from the from her in next 11 minutes. And if she was specifically looking for something, she found a handgun in the front compartment. And then what's the next one, Connor? Guys, you want to talk about like this is where this is where Bill Burr should probably love this. This is from February. A truck with images of Mangione as a freaking saint. I want to go around and ask you guys, what do you guys think about this, Rob?
This is all a psyop. The more that I like, when you look at the GoFundMe account that went to Carmelo Anthony, the guy that's accused of stabbing Austin Metcalf in the heart, and then Austin Metcalf dying in his brother's arms. Then you look at Shiloh Hendricks, the woman who called the black child an N-word at a park. Now you're looking at the people surrounding Luigi Mangione and supporting him. I believe that it is a very small subset, subset
Yeah, you're right.
of mentally ill, deranged people who are being given these platforms or propagated, and it's part of a psyop. I don't know what the end result may be.
Maybe
but
distraction from Epstein stuff, Rob. Maybe all this is to make you guys, hey, look, Mangione. Oh, look here.
Yeah.
Just to make you all look over here when the main shit is the main shit that they're covering up. I don't pay attention to this shit.
Think about the end result, though, because I mean, Alex Jones has been saying for months, if not years, that they're gonna like bomb a black college and blame it on Trump. So I mean, I think they're intentionally stirring up racial tensions with this stuff. I think a lot of that money that's going to them could be from like NGOs or
for sure.
all the USAIDs that didn't get tapped into.
Exactly, but that's why, bro. All the protests. Notice.
Yeah.
All the protests and all the schools and all the Palestine, all the Israel. That's starting to brew. The racial shit's starting to brew because it's under Trump, and the billionaires are paying for it.
Yeah,
all
and
those guys are paying for it.
And what's this gonna do? Like, so the people are gonna say like, "Oh, this kid is a hero. He killed a greedy CEO who was ripping off people from their health insurance, and he got away with it." So like, there's gonna be some idiots out there that go out and try to do it, and they're trying to
for
create like a Joker situation. You know, like
you know where that
desperate people
QR
revolt.
code
Go.
leads?
Huh?
You know where the QR code leads?
To his
that plane
GoFundMe?
It leads to a crypto, to a like Luigi coin.
Oh, that's,
Luigi
it's probably gonna pop.
It leads to a Luigi coin on Solana. I'm not promoting it.
No,
You just did.
But what do you think? No, but I can't even see. I can't believe I've been reading from that far away.
I was shocked. All
But
right.
what do you think, Humberto, about the situation?
Look, I mean, this is. I mean, we have video. Like,
Maybe don't type too loud because I can hear you.
when the video came out, like I think I've never seen anything like it before. It was like a movie.
The
Like,
shooting?
Yeah, the shooting was so clear. Like it's something you will see out of a movie. So like it's blatant.
You
All
didn't
right.
see his face in that video though.
You just let's not get it. Yeah, but you saw a guy that fit the profile on
I
the
mean, it was
video.
him. He's not disputing that it wasn't him.
He's not disputing it. And it's been, all over the media. People talked about it. You have trucks going around. You have people defending him and everything. But at the same time, I will defend the justice system. Like, if he wasn't read his Miranda rights and he was searched without a warrant, like, I think that needs to stick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't like the guy. I think he cowardly killed a father that left his kids, alone. Like, doesn't matter what he did. Those kids don't deserve growing up without a father. Period. End of story.
Two questions. If someone, God forbid, shot your mother the way that he shot him, and you just found out that he's gonna probably walk because that cop didn't do the Miranda rights or do the search warrant, what are you gonna?
I will be furious.
You ever see Law Abiding Citizen?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That's
so
exactly it.
that type of thing.
I will be absolutely furious. But the thing is, I think what Jefferson said, that it's better to like a free 10.
Let 10 guilty men go and one free man, then let what is it? Yeah, it's better if 10 guilty men go free by accident than if one innocent man goes to jail by accident.
That's how we operate in the United States. You know, innocent to proven guilty, and that's how the law works. If he wasn't, if you didn't have a warrant and wasn't searched and it's inadmissible according to U.S. laws, it is what it is. It's unfair. It's stupid. Like, you know,
that cop should be fired.
So do you know
do
you know the origins of the Miranda laws? So I went and I looked into it because I'm like, well, okay, is there a way for them to still prosecute this guy? So in 1966, a guy named Ernesto Miranda was accused of kidnapping and raping a woman. He confessed to police that he did this in a written statement. However, he was not given his Miranda rights prior to being arrested. So they actually were looking at throwing out the case against him. What they ended up doing was they found him guilty regardless of the Miranda rights, but it established that you had to read the Miranda rights to people when they're being arrested. So even though this guy's case was about to be thrown out because he wasn't, they still found a way to prosecute him. So regardless of Miranda, they may be able to work around that. But the illegal search of the backpack, if that is the only evidence that they have against Luigi Mangione, the only evidence, they don't have any credit card ties, because there's got to be a forensic trail.
Oh, 1,000
right?
more cameras.
Nobody, at this day and age, nobody's walking around paying for everything in cash. We're being tracked digitally everywhere we go. If the only thing that they have is the backpack, then we might be fucked. But if not, if there's other evidence, then yeah, okay, they didn't read his Miranda rights. They'll find a way around that, and they can find a way around the backpack. To your question to Humberto, if that's your family, if that's my family, I'm spending the rest of my life tracking down Luigi Mangione and exacting revenge for the death of my family.
Yeah, so he's not going to be safe. You think that guy's going to be safe walking around?
But Vinny, like at no point, because the thing is, it's once you break the illegal warrant, you know, the illegal search of property, that is a slippery slope, you know, and we had a lot of trouble in this country for illegal searches of property, you know, so there's limits, and I think the law is the law, and I think Rob is right, and I think he's being blown out of proportion. I think he's guilty, and I think he's gonna pay for it. But this is an argument. Like I think it's an important thing to consider, that how important it's for Miranda rights to be read, and for law enforcement to have warrants, you know.
But here's because I kind of want to ask a question, but hear me out. If in cold blood you pull out a gun right now and you shot Brandon dead, and the cops show up and don't read you your rights, for you to be able to walk is completely horseshit. There's no, I don't give a fuck what right, what you're under arrest. No. We saw you. There's witnesses. You shot and killed the person. You're on camera. You're going to jail. The rights and the search warrant, that's all whatever the hell, that's get the cop in trouble. But if you shoot him in the chest, and we're all here, and just because the cop messed up reading the rights, that's horseshit.
Well, that's what Rob said, that, you know, if they're able to prosecute based off the other evidence, then great. However, if the only thing that would have convicted him beyond a reasonable doubt is the backpack situation, and then that is void due to not reading the Miranda rights, then...
Oh, this will be an outrage.
But it is what it is. That's how it'll end up, though, because we need to... There's a reason why Miranda rights are in place. You know, they could weaponize that the wrong way. Like, it's fine for Luigi. We agree with that. But what if it was you, Vinny? And what if they planted some evidence or they did something crazy? They didn't read your rights. Wouldn't you want that thrown out, right?
100%.
And so we need to think about it from both perspectives. It's like, it can't be rules for thee and not for me.
And the problem is when it comes to video evidence now, I was watching a video the other day. You ever see those big balls that people climb into and then they roll around?
Yeah. I was going to do that in New Zealand.
So I watched a video and I'm watching it and it's a bunch of guys in these big balls and then they jump off a building. And I was like, how could they even do that? And then the next part of the video is the balls are bouncing down the street and they bump into giant Dunkin' Donut coffee cups that must have been 20 or 30 stories high. It was AI. But until they hit the actual coffee cups, I went, holy shit, is this real? Yeah. So we now live in this day and age where even what you see is not enough evidence because it could be created artificially.
Right.
Yes.
And yeah, I think it's a better system where like the burden is on the legal system to prove that you're guilty than the burden being on the person to prove that you're innocent. Because yeah, like almost every other country where it's the other way around, it's like much more hostile where the government can entrap you that easily.
It gets the Tate brothers. It gets very nasty very fast.
Yeah, they weaponize the shit out of that. And I don't think it's like a crystal clear video where we like. I wouldn't put my life on it that he definitely did it. I think it's much more likely than 50%, but I definitely wouldn't say it's 100%.
What were there witnesses? Were people there?
I haven't heard of any witnesses.
Connor, what question were you going to ask?
I wanted to ask if any of you guys on the panel can recite your Miranda rights right now, so we know everyone's on the same
I
page.
think I have. Okay, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you by the state.
Now, is that from firsthand experience, or is that because I've watched Cops and I'm like, oh, that sounds just like every single thing that they do on Cops. But do you remember that from personal experience?
Yeah, personal experience. Yeah,
okay.
Good job, Vinny. 100 unusual points to you.
Thank you. All right, then. Well, listen, we're gonna see. I don't see. By the way, I don't see none of that shit happening.
Really
He's gonna live in a compound with a bunch of chicks if he gets out of jail.
Yeah.
A father is gone. I hope they get justice, and I hope they get the truth. That's the only thing I care about. Brandon says it might not be him, but whatever. They need justice, and those children, they need clarity.
Bryce and Dane Thompson were the sons of Brian Thompson. By all accounts, he was described as a loving father. He and his wife Paulette had recently separated at the time of his death, but according again to all reports, a loving father to these two kids who now their lives forever are ruined.
That's all that matters.
And guess what? There's footage of him, your dad. And that's never going to go away.
Never going to
You're
go
going to
away.
get to see your father assassinated in the middle of the street. Anyway, God rest his soul, and let's see what happens with this freaking story. Anyway, so what is going on with the airlines? So as the official Real ID deadline takes effect, what date was that supposed to take effect?
Like this week.
The 5th through to the 7th is when they were rolling out. But they've been trying to push it through literally since 2008. And all of the states have been opposing it. A lot of people believed it was unconstitutional, which it is. And now just finally, all of the states and territories have been made compliant, and they're forcing it through.
Yeah,
now.
the Real ID Act was passed by Congress in 2005 as a post 9/11 measure.
Weird.
So it literally took them 20 years. That's how slow the government works.
Yeah, weird.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
Homeland
states weren't willing to enforce it. That's why.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem confirms that travelers without Real ID will still be permitted to fly. Oh, so they changed their tune, but should expect extra screening. Cavity search. I'm joking about the cavity search. And possible delays. Acceptable alternative identification at airport checkpoints include passports, military IDs, tribal IDs, and permanent resident cards. So the Real ID mandate is in effect, kind of, but no one is really going to enforce it. And here is Kristi Noem announcement video. And then I want Amy to take it from here.
Kristi Noem.
Hi, Kristi. She's beautiful.
She'd kill my dog. I'd be okay.
Oh,
with it.
yeah. I'd let her kill it.
Oh, gosh.
The United States Secretary of Homeland Security. If you plan on traveling, we need your help to prevent delays and to prove your identity. Get a Real ID. Starting May 7th, you will need a Real ID to travel by air or to visit federal buildings in the United States. These IDs keep our country safe because they help prevent fraud and they enhance security. Please do your part to protect our country. Go today and don't delay. To learn more, go to dhs.gov/real-ID. Thank you.
I like how that rhymed. Amy, what do you think?
This is a globalist Trojan horse. Australia, a lot of other countries are going through something similar right now. So you guys understand why this is bad. Having a digital system is what is necessary before you could ever roll out something like a social credit score or anything like what is in existence in communist China. Because how can you give somebody a score unless their identity is digitized first? So this is step number one. And they're painting it as this Trojan horse. Oh, Republicans get behind this because it's going to help bolster the SAVE Act and illegals won't be able to vote in elections. Don't you want that, conservatives? Yes, we do. But this is not the mechanism to achieve it. There's a couple of main reasons why this is really bad and like just straight unconstitutional. Firstly, it gives the DHS sweeping power to determine the scope upon which they can require Real ID for. So right now, they say it's only to board an airline flight, to enter a government building or nuclear power plants. But the DHS has full discretion to expand that scope. And the former DHS secretary said that eventually this could get to the point where they require it for things like ammunition, firearms, picking up prescriptions, cashing a check. Like, this could get really, really bad. And it's scary to realize just how much power the DHS has.
This will get bad. I can 100% bet that this is going to get really bad.
Well, the next thing from there is the mandate for the high resolution digital pictures. Previously, they allowed these lower resolution analog photos. And the reason why this is scary is because currently 35 states right now use facial recognition technology that maps out the unique distance between your eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. And the distance between these are as unique as your individual thumbprint. And so mandating that everybody have this type of image on their ID, it's like giving them access to your thumbprint. They have it's essentially access to your biometric information, kind of like how in China, if the security, the surveillance state captures a person on camera, within a second, they're able to identify who that is.
In 1 second.
Eventually, it could be the same thing here, you know? Eventually, they want to completely eliminate the need to have a physical ID at all. And everything is just tied to the body through biometrics.
What do you think, Rob?
It's weird because I was just trying to think, when do I even use my ID? I can't, I have it on me at all times in case I get pulled over for driving. But realistically, the last time that I've actually pulled out my ID and used it would be for a flight. So I never really use my ID. I can see where it leads to the digital ID, though, and I see the concern. I honestly don't give a shit. I don't want them tracking me.
Globalist.
Well, I know. I was called a Zionist cuck for Israel on Tuesdays or Wednesday show because I said it was wrong to walk into a bar with a "fuck the Jews" sign. I guess I'm crazy for thinking that maybe you should just act a little bit more adult when you're an adult. I'm crazy.
Well, did you hear what Thomas Massey said about it?
About the digital ID?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he's saying that how bad this is won't be realized till they're doing the bad shit.
Probably.
And so your
It'll be too
perspective
late.
is the super normal perspective that most people have, and that's the reason why we're going to be screwed.
I didn't even
in
know
a couple
I
years
had
from now.
digital ID.
Me
Or
neither.
not digital ID.
Yeah, you have it. You have the real ID. You have the star, right?
Yes. Not the kind of star for Israel. I know what you're thinking. I'm an Israel show cuck. No, but yes, I do have this, and I've had this driver's license.
Yeah.
It expires in 2031. I got this issued in 2023, so I've had real ID for 2.5 years and had zero idea that I'm walking
You guys
around
want
with
little
it.
fun facts as you talk about airport and you talk about the scan, right?
The eyeball
When you go to
scan.
the airport, I asked ChatGPT, do you have to let the airport scan your face when you go to travel within the United States? And it said, no, you're not required to let the airport scan your face. The TSA uses facial recognition technology as many airports, but participation is voluntary. They don't say that. They just tell you, go stand in front of there. So you could tell them politely, say, I don't want to do it, and they opt out of it. What the hell are they doing? Where are they taking with all that? Do you know that? Every time you travel, they say, look here, and we just do it. I'm not doing that shit anymore.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
I'm like,
you don't even need to walk through the one that
the
scans
metal
you all
one.
the way
I
around.
don't,
You don't even need to walk through
I
that
don't do
shit.
this. I say, give me a pat down. I like
Yeah.
getting felt up.
You can opt out. But
Wait, question. Would you rather get cavity searched every time you go on a flight for the rest of your life or go ahead with a given into the digital ID?
Cavity search. I do it all the time.
I respect it.
Yep.
Me too. Rob?
That's what they actually do it with. Is the best
Rob,
one
I
they
mean,
have.
Humberto, what do you think? You're for it? You're cool? You don't care?
with this, with real ID,
You don't like it?
I don't like it at all. Before working here, I used to work, in marketing.
Porn? No, I'm joking.
No, in marketing. And the amount of information that we just gather from social media on people to profile them and sell them things is scary. Now you add this to a federal database with their biometrics. Like, for example, if there's a big
movement.
disaster, they're going to have enough information to decide where to put the trucks. They'd be like, these people on the bottom of Florida, there's nothing we can do about it. It's going to be too expensive to save them. So we're just going to keep resources here. All right? This group of people, they're all going to mass on Sunday. All right? They're all going to mass on Sunday. They might be extremist conservatives. Because, you always need to make the laws thinking that the opposite side is going to rule one day, or a worse side is going to rule one day. So the ways they can use and weaponize this on the next administration, is immediate. And I always see, this changes there's two types. You can have a broken bone that if you get a cast, it will heal. Like things that get fucked and they can be unfucked, all right? This is teeth. level. All right. Once you break a tooth,
it's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
All right. It's over. It's not gonna regrow. It's not gonna go back. This is a permanent change that can't be rolled back. And what Amy said, once we realize that things are not great, there's nothing you can do to like undo it. You know what I mean?
Well, you look at the way that they now use technology when it just comes to like simple things like traffic enforcement. It drives me nuts. But now, it started with the red light cameras, and now they're issuing tickets for people that are speeding in the United States without having an officer present, but using cameras with radar technology. And now they were doing it here in South Florida, where they were using AI on school buses to track down people who wouldn't stop for the school buses when they have the little stop sign that comes out. You know, the flash of red lights, you got to stop.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that they had to dismiss all of the tickets that they wrote because the technology wasn't there. But the fact of the matter is, they're using that technology to spy on you, and then they're using that same technology to criminalize the actions that you're doing and penalize you on top of it.
Yeah, and they're going to attach your money to it someday, and then they
that's
really have
it.
control over you. That's called technocracy, and China was like the test case for it.
And
Like these guys talked
love
about
Kristen
it.
Noem. I don't know how involved she is in this. She was the person that had to make the announcement because that's the position she's in. I don't think she has much to do with it since 2005 till now, and she had to make the unfortunate announcement.
Yeah.
I don't put it on her. I think she's a wonderful person. I don't think everyone, especially older Republicans, don't know the full scope of how this destroys the human spirit.
Yep.
Destroys the human spirit.
Believe it.
You know what? I think this is why the Unabomber got all freaked out because he was so smart that I think that like he just saw this like in such a fast, deep way that he kind of fast forwarded to this point in his head, and he's like, "Oh, screw that!" And then like I mean,
we think it
his
wouldn't
method
happen
wasn't
here.
that smart, but I think this is what he saw.
We think it wouldn't happen here, but like it absolutely would. Do you guys like they tried to implement the vaccine passport? That was a form of a digital ID that they even tried to roll out here. Because of a pandemic that wasn't even that serious. They could fabricate any emergency to reinforce something like this. They told you can't go here unless you have this specific ID. Your access to basic goods and services. What's to stop them from rolling that out on a massive scale with this digital ID?
Like Vinnie, in Canada, it happened already. Like if they realized that you donated to the trucker protest, they debanked you.
That's insane. Or
They
if you
debanked
were
you.
friends with them, if you knew the other people, bro.
So
to hell with
the
that.
more information they have, the more connected they are, the more ways. For example, right now they don't need the vaccine passport to do what they wanted to do.
Yep.
Like that barrier is out. They can roll it out immediately like this.
And it's very interesting. We always talk about advanced technology that the military has. We've talked about it on this podcast, that the things that we're seeing now, they had 20 or 30 years ago. But it doesn't just apply to weaponry. There's an episode of the PBD podcast that's coming out next week. We just shot it today. With members of a team called Able Danger. Able Danger. They were a team within the CIA that was tracking down and pinpointing where Al-Qaeda was throughout the globe prior to the 2001 terrorist attacks. I've done big deep dives into researching for that podcast and listening to the people that we had on and their testimony. And what they were testifying in 2005 was that the technology that we were seeing at that point, they were using on intelligence gathering to spy on people. That technology they had 30 years prior that was just being used and rolled out to the American public in 2005. So in 2005, if we're getting information or technology that was created in the 70s, what do we have that they're currently working with that we have no idea how they're spying on us and using? And then when you look at like the NSA, how do these gigantic organizations operate and exist without people coming out and speaking out and going, yeah, we have all your records. We know exactly what Brandon ate Tuesday at 9 o'clock at Taco Bell when he stopped. Like, how come nobody has ever come out? Because these gigantic surveillance programs, they're not all operated by AI. There are people that are involved in operating them. How come nobody has ever come out and spoken about it?
Well, Edward Snowden, and they made an example out of him.
Snowden, he's in Russia still.
And like bipartisanly, they both shit on him. Like there's
Obama, what's his name was trying to
Bush and Obama was supposed to be the president for whistleblowers and saying like, oh yeah, I respect it, but no, they came out super hard on him.
Anyway, but hey, whistleblower, he was definitely a blower. Guys, just really quick, we want to make an announcement for Amy. Amy has a show coming out tomorrow. Do we know the time yet?
1 p.m. Eastern.
1 p.m. tomorrow Eastern Standard Time. Her show, her name is Amy Dangerfield. It's going to be called Dangerous Conversations. Amy, give us a little plug of what's happening and talk to everybody.
Yeah. So if you guys have watched this show, you already have a taste for the things that I'm into. Basically, it's just a long format of me talking about those things. So it's about an hour. We touch on anywhere between like 4 to 5 different topics. And for this episode specifically, I am doing a deep dive into Real ID. There's a couple of examples I gave of why you should really give this thing a little bit of critical thought. You know, I kind of give you a full breakdown of every single point. So, yeah, definitely check it out tomorrow. And also, we have meme competition. So if you want to submit a meme to the show, we're going to rotate different memes out every month.
That's freaking exciting.
Yeah.
Nice. What's the award for the winner?
Mm-hmm.
What does the winner get?
They get their meme put up on the set.
Yeah.
All right.
What were you going? Like a picture of somebody's feet, like Rob's feet?
He's definitely on there.
Thanks, Rob. And all right, guys, I want to show one more thing. Did you guys see the video of the Frontier Airline gate people messing with this guy? Oh my God! So this video shows the gate agents and a 45-year-old passenger who was upset over a $25 check-in fee after missing the airline's 60-minute departure window by 10 minutes. He returned from a business trip in Raleigh and trying to fly to Boston. He was frustrated by what he viewed as a surprise charge. On the dismissive attitude of the staff, the situation escalated until police were called. He ultimately bought a $500 JetBlue ticket to go home, but the Frontier later reimbursed him and confirmed the employees involved. Contractors were no longer working on their account. Guys, imagine you own a company. And by the way, they just lost, I think, $30 million, if I'm not correct. Frontier just lost a lot of money.
For this publicity?
No, just in general.
Okay.
Bro, Frontier sucks.
Yeah.
They're the laughing stock of airlines.
Almost as bad as Spirit or worse?
It's up there.
It's usually cheaper than Spirit, which is like its only selling point.
Bro,
is
they
the
charge
cheapest.
you for emotional baggage. You have to pay $25 if you have like a girlfriend problem. Play this clip and tell me how, if you're in, imagine this is a person working for your company. Go ahead.
They made that flight. You did. And you think you're gonna check me in. I bet you we won't. Hey?
I paid for a ticket.
And you didn't pay $25 for agent assistant, and you checked in 3 hours later. Hello.
I just said that I.
You get on your flight.
Yeah, I just said that I would pay the $25.
And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight.
I literally paid for a ticket. I'm here 30 minutes. I'm here 30 minutes before my flight, and they're not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight.
Because it's a policy. We don't control that.
And you will never fly.
You were about to let me check in. You were about to let me check in, and you decided that you ain't gonna let me check in.
Make me check you in.
You literally work for a company that I bought a plane ticket for.
Now, judging by the
I'm
guys,
here 30 minutes before the
if you were to
flight.
guess what
race
or ethnicity
I'm not in your personal space. This is not your
there was a
personal
white
space.
person acting this way towards a black passenger,
over.
Yeah.
everybody would be screaming racism. People would be boycotting Frontier. That the person would have a GoFundMe account. But when it's a white guy, nothing happens. Well, maybe they got fired.
I think it's his fault. I think everything is his fault.
Why?
Too nice?
I'm not a millionaire, but it's $25. I wouldn't deal with this shit for $25. I will, because the thing is, the person that is in the counter, they're dealing with assholes the whole freaking day. They're way tougher than the pussies that sit in the home office or the corporate office. So I'd be like, I pay the $25. I write a mean email, get my $25 back when I get it home. He's a very bad businessman if it was on business.
But she was having fun with that though. She looked like she was
Mocking,
enjoying.
yes.
Yeah, making fun of antagonizing
When the mocking started, we'll pay the $25, get the video, and then
it's war at that point.
Do you think there's anything towards you put asshole out in the universe, you get asshole back?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I disagree.
Literally
I think if there's a
unfavorably.
nice person at the airline counter, yeah, they may originally encounter some assholeism from people, but I believe that the way that the person behind the counter acting as a professional, their job can lower the temperature of that conversation and eventually get the conversation to be beneficial to both parties. That woman clearly not capable of doing that. The last thing you want to do in that situation if you're the employee is take out your phone and egg the guy on.
Rob, do you think she's ever read How to Win Friends and Influence People?
No, but Rob. Maybe because I was brought up in the Middle East and the interaction with service are different. Like, for example, someone is serving you, doesn't make eye contact, all right? Or talk to you unless requested.
We should have that here.
All right? So I think my pride goes way up. Like, when I see the start of a trouble, I'd be willing to go as far as buying myself a new ticket and then dealing with the situation after. But I will never let someone that is supposed to be serving me I will never let it escalate for them to talk to me like that. You know, I'd be like, here's our $25. Don't talk to me. And I will write an email to corporate. That's it.
I'm glad he recorded it, though, because I'm glad he recorded it and it got millions of views.
Yeah.
Hopefully she got fired
Well,
now.
by the way, she's not going to get. I don't think she's going to be fired.
Probably
Rob. You know what
not.
she's gonna say? Oh, because y'all racist.
I think I saw that she was fired, but let me just double check. Employee mocks. According to Newsweek, Frontier Airlines workers fired. So both of them.
Nice.
Good.
Okay,
Good.
the other woman was the other woman as
Not the old lady. The other. But here's the thing: you're recording and you're taunting and you're laughing. I'm sorry, guys. It's the customer. You are dealing with a customer. The customer is always right. You don't record. You know, he wasn't being a prick. I know we don't see what happened before, but it's like, bro, you're recording. No, why are you recording? This camera's in the airport. You're trying to be a bitch. That's what you're trying to be. And you're trying to be all like how, you know, white gay guys. Excuse me. Like, you're trying to be that. Like, what kind of shitty behavior is that?
Maybe she's racist.
She's definitely racist.
I don't think race has nothing to do with this. I think it's just like the interaction. I wouldn't let that interaction
Allegedly,
escalate.
she might be racist. That's what we're going to do.
I wouldn't let it escalate to this point.
You don't think she said cracker in her life?
And I mean, the guy was
honky.
You don't think she's ever said cracker? You think when that guy left Humberto, she was like, I told that white mom.
I don't think it has anything to do with race.
I'm going to start claiming everything has to do
I'm
with
gonna
race
say it's
because it
racist.
works for the other side. The other side continues to claim, well, that guy's racist because I'm a victim and because
Boom,
of my skin color.
500,000.
Is there anybody right now in the United States that's more persecuted than this straight white male?
Hell no.
I mean, we're making a comeback because Trump's back in office. But if Kamala was in office right now, I'd be in a camp somewhere. I'd be able to talk to anybody.
Will be.
Preach.
But
Well, guys,
yeah,
well, guys.
like assholes come in all colors. You know.
Oh, for sure. But if you can't call them out because they go to play the race card, is bullshit. All right, guys. I want to go to this story because it kind of coincides with this one. Did you guys hear about they charged a military guy for falsifying records to take hundreds of free flights. So apparently, Dior J. Jarrett, a baggage handler for the U.S. for a major U.S. airline in the New York area, we don't know which one, has been charged with sweeping fraud scheme involving falsifying military service records while still officially serving in the U.S. Marine Corps. In October 2021, he began working at the airline, and a week into training, he forged deployment documents. Listen, say what you want. Very creative. This is very creative, bro.
It's like catch me if you can.
He secured 8 months of military leave. After leaving the Marines in 2022, he continued submitting fake military orders to obtain 2.5 more years of leave. He defrauded the airline with over $70,000 by taking approximately 130 free and discounted flights to luxury destinations like Aruba, Bermuda, Bahamas, Barbados, and London. He even obtained a second job as a federal air marshal, concealing his airline employment and using his fraudulent leave as cover.
I'm not mad. I respect it because I mean, anybody who takes anybody who dares to get mad at that, take a look at what the government's doing and get mad about that because it's like
Did he take it
drop in the
federal
bucket.
money? Is it government money?
Of course. Well, that's
Is his government? If it's government money,
Well, is it the perk of saying that you're military on paper and getting free flights because of that, or is he getting some kind of money from the military or the government?
Wait, but he was former military or he faked being former military?
Sounds like fake being former.
Well, then
military.
that's stolen valor.
Yeah, he was officially. He was serving in the U.S. Marine Corps, and he began working at the airline, and just a week into training. So I guess he was active duty, and then got another job. But then he said he forged deployment documents to secure 8 months. So he told the military, I'm leaving to go work at the other place and get money.
I worked on the radio with a guy who would. This is not something that I'm proud of, but I didn't do it. The guy would pretend to be a veteran on Veterans Day so that he could get discounted meals. He'd go to different restaurants throughout the day and eat for half off or for free by claiming that he was former military. As former military,
I really get, but dude, it's crazy. I get no discounts anywhere. It's insane.
Really?
I remember.
But I never
Foot
see you
Locker,
ask for
I got
one.
10%. I never asked. Foot Locker got 10%. No, bro, the military the VA, we get treated like shit. And the businesses, they don't give shit. You know how many times I've asked, hey, do you guys have military ID? And they go, unfortunately, no. 95% of the time, they don't give a shit.
What? You know what they should do? They should make people in Congress and the Senate go through the VA for their health care. If you really want change to the VA system, then every congressperson and every senator should have to go to the VA and deal with the VA when they want to get treated, and then there will be changes to that health care system.
You're damn right, Rob.
That money gets
Thank you.
stolen.
Vote for me for governor.
That money definitely gets stolen though, because I mean the VA budget is a lot smaller than the military defense budget, but it's still huge. It's still like I think $400 billion. So they should have more than enough money, but it definitely gets skimmed like crazy.
Oh, dude, the VA veterans get looked over. Bro, I don't even have. I mean, I had to get my own civilian dental insurance. You think the VA gives me dental insurance? I wanted an appointment because I felt like pain in my back. I thought it was my kidneys. Remember last week I was telling you? I called. By the way, what's today?
Today's the 10th.
We're May 10th.
Right?
Let's say May
9th. Sorry.
Let's say May 5th. I called. The lady goes, "Oh, I'm looking for an appointment." How's August? I'm not joking. I go, excuse me. I go, are you kidding me right now? She goes, no, but if you want to go to the emergency room, I go, it's not an emergency, but I go, if God forbid this is serious, you mean to tell me that I have to wait 3 months, 4 months? She goes, well, you can always go to the ER. I go, no. I'm asking for an appointment to see a fucking doctor. I'm a United States Air Force veteran. How long? And she goes, I'm sorry, that's all what it is. That's the attitude.
Now, could you imagine
insane.
if you're, I don't know what the rank is in Air Force, where you have a captain above you?
Well, I'm enlisted, so I was E5. So if you're enlisted, it's E1 to E9.
But like, what would you report to? So you'd report to who? Like a captain?
While I was in the military, an officer. Like,
Okay.
it could be a lieutenant. It could be a captain.
Could you imagine if your supervisor came to you and they were like, Vinny, we need to do this now? And you're like, yes, in 3 months from now. I will get to that. Imagine if you treated the military the same way that the VA treats its veterans. It's disgusting.
Horseshit.
Yeah.
It's horseshit. All right, we're going to move on to the next story. This is going to be the last one. D-Day for Diddy.
Oh, boy.
Good title. Good title.
Good, very good title. So, apparently the trial's been going on for how long?
Well, I believe it's right now they're in the beginning
Jury
stages.
selection.
Yeah, the jury selection, because that's where all the names are leaking from, are potential witnesses. They may or may not have to testify, but I've seen some wild names in there.
It's wild.
So Jonathan Oddie, a former porn actor who engaged in a 2018 shootout at President Trump's Florida golf resort, alleged he was a sex slave for Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura, supported by a recently surfaced non-disclosure agreement reportedly signed in 2014.
Wait, why didn't we hear about this? When did a porn star shoot up Trump's resort?
I don't. I do when I read it.
2018 or 19, I
Yeah,
thought.
what the hell? How did we miss that?
2018, he shot up the golf resort. I don't know.
Well, at that point, we were too busy focused on Russia Gate and Trump being a Russian asset.
nobody gave a shit.
What a crazy headline.
This guy claims he received $5 million in exchange for his silence about his sexual relationship with Diddy and Ventura. The NDA appears to bear both Odie's and Sean Diddy Combs' signature, lending credibility to his claims as a prior relationship through not necessarily confirming his allegations of being a sex slave. So apparently, there is an NDA with his signature and Puff Daddy's. They gave him $5 million allegedly to shut up because he was banging all of them. Like they were.
I'm sorry, I can't even get past him shooting Trump's and
nobody
being out of jail. Like, why is the biggest worry that he has to sign an NDA and get $5 million?
What beef does a porn star have with a golf course?
I know.
And how are you not in jail for a long time for shooting the president's house?
He's clearly unhinged if he's going and is shooting up
the president's house.
He's clearly unhinged. How much credibility does I think that Diddy and maybe Cassie and all of those people had like sex slaves and all that but that guy looks creepy. Why would they want that guy touching them?
Show his face. Show his face.
Well, if you've ever watched porn, is this gay porn?
I've actually
tell us, Rob.
I've actually, Rob, why do you guys do this to yourself?
I think
I've
it was
actually
gay.
not watched porn. I actually have never watched porn.
Good. By the way, I think he was.
We should start right
Did
now.
he look like a porn star?
I think he's a gay porn star. I think he did.
Look it up.
I don't think looks for the men matter in porn. Most time you never even see their faces.
Yeah, just
really?
butt.
Yeah, it's just
like
their body
butt.
and their ween.
How do you know?
Butt.
Spend a lot of
Go back, keep
studying
going.
for work.
He keeps going. Yeah, that's him. I mean, I can see that guy's a gay porn star. If he is.
Oh,
Did he do
allegedly gay porn?
Connor, did he do gay porn?
That should clarify.
Why do you think I would know that?
Well,
I mean, you're on the computer.
well, you're by a damn computer, you pervert.
Was Jonathan Oddie, O-D-D-I?
Yeah, O-D-D-I.
A gay porn star.
Boom,
Well, I
porn.
mean, bro, he was begging Diddy and her. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, it just says X. So let's just say he was X porn star.
they throw the porn star too lightly. Don't you have to be like a level of porn actor?
No, they
to
call
be
it
a
by
porn
porn.
star?
I say adult.
Okay,
movie.
he had sex with Cassie and Diddy, so maybe not in gay porn, but definitely into gay activities. Basically, he would, this is, and I quote, According to Adi, he would masturbate. Diddy would masturbate and tell me what to do to Cassie. Not the first time that we've heard that. We've heard these rumors before. What's really interesting is that Tony, our booker, and I have had several conversations with a Michigan inmate. I swear to God, Tony and I have had the conversation with a Michigan inmate. I'll have to get more of the story, but the guy kept claiming that he was also a sex slave of Diddy. And then he claimed that they had a rectal examination done on him and they scoped Diddy's DNA out of his rectum. But the guy is in jail and he writes all these long letters to us. And before I was like, this guy's a kook. But now you see the guy that's shooting up Trump's Mar-a-Lago or whatever, the golf course, it was also in porn and may have been a sex slave. And there's a $5 million hush settlement.
Can I ask a question? Rob, you seem well versed in this.
Thank you.
The gays, they have all these weird terms like
don't call them the gays.
Well,
Whenever you put the in front of something, it bemes a problem.
Okay.
The gays, the Jews, the blacks, always the problem. So I would
Except
just say
the whites.
gays.
We'll say
Except the whites.
LGBTQ plus.
homosexual men, all
There-
right?
Nice.
Homosexual men. Homosexual men. They have all these terms that are not very accurate. Like, for example, I heard they go slay, slay, slay. Are they doing a mass murder? Does a sex slave, does it, or daddy? They call everyone daddy.
Or butt pirate.
Does a sex slave mean, is it actually a sex slave, like someone that they use for sex and they put in a dungeon? Or is it like just a move?
Like the
I don't
gimp from
understand.
Like a game from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
But what is it? What is it? Is it?
Why are you asking me? I
don't
watch
know.
porn
But
from
what
time
does
to time. It's heterosexual porn.
But what does a sex slave mean? I don't know what it is. Like, do they put chains? Like, jail them
a sex
afterwards?
slave does what you want.
Is he kidnapped? Is he being kidnapped for a long period of time?
We can do a whole
I
segment
would
on
guess
that. 'cause I
it's
have no
exactly how
idea.
it sounds.
I don't know.
I'm
Is
gonna
he
go on
free to
ChatGPT.
move?
Here we go.
What I can tell, I don't know, but I can tell you this. So part of the jury selection process, it's currently ongoing in the Diddy trial. So they're asking the potential jurors about their familiarity with certain people. The reason that they would ask that question is because they don't want these people to come in with preconceived notions or judgment about anybody that may be called as a witness.
Yeah.
So some of the names, have you seen some of the names that have been asked to the jury? They've asked the jury about Kanye. They've asked the jury about Michael B. Jordan. They've asked the jury about Jennifer Lopez. They've asked the jury about Kid Cudi. Those are just some of the names. I believe there were other celebrity and famous people. I'll have to find the other list of names. But you're already seeing people who may have either been at the parties or have connections to Diddy being mentioned in the trial, which is crazy because how long has this been going on? A year? And we already have names. But Epstein's Black Book, that happened in 2006 when he was arrested.
Yeah.
Here we are 19 years later, not a single name other than Prince Andrew.
Are you talking witnesses or jury? Because I don't think that makes sense for those people to be on the jury.
No. I'm sorry. They're asking the jurors about these people in case
their
these people
opinion.
are witnesses.
Okay, gotcha.
They have to, and so what? If they know them or if they have a strong opinion, they're not allowed to be on the jury,
I
right?
would
Because
assume
it,
so.
it presumes bias.
Here are the A-listers mentioned in the Diddy trial so far. This is from News Nation. Yee. This is a weird one. Wayne from Wayne's World. Mike Myers. Michelle Williams. Lauren London. Diddy's children. That's disturbing. Dallas Austin, a record producer. Cassandra Ventura, the woman that he was seen on that hotel room video, surveillance video beating. Kid Cudi. Michael B. Jordan. Aubrey O'Day. And Dawn Richard. And that's only in 3 days.
Wow. This is going to be entertaining, like the OJ case. I feel like this could like take over the nation for a couple of months. But
Is it going to be televised? Do we know that?
Hopefully. But
Is it in New York?
I think
Is
that
it New York?
Yes, it's
Diddy,
New York.
That's why I don't think it's going to be televised.
the Diddy list is going to be like the JV side of the people who kind of run things because the Epstein list
the
is
JV side.
yeah, because the Epstein list is like the actual serious old money people. But
That's the NFL being a fucking demon.
yeah,
See, I don't think you're going to get the OJ, because the OJ thing was the first trial that was broadcast on courtroom TV, and it was like, so there became that incentivized to watch and pay attention. Diddy's trial will not be televised or live streamed, which that sucks. I wouldn't love to watch it, but it would be interesting to watch.
yeah.
It's going to be like the Johnny Depp case. Like a lot of like he said, she said, and reports. But you know what's, I don't know if it's funny, but putting a famous person on trial is very difficult.
Because of the jury selection?
Because of the jury selection. How do you find people that don't know Donald Trump or don't know
Ooh, maybe they could get the Amish.
Oh man,
It's a good idea, right?
Amish will make a killing.
No, like because they're like away from society and they don't know about anything.
Well, dude, here. Well,
No?
I ChatGPT'd sex slave.
All right.
So now it's
Oh
gonna
my
be
You're on
God.
a watch
Do I
list.
want to know this?
Well, it said it's someone who is forced or coerced into performing sexual acts against their will. This is a form of human trafficking and is a serious crime and human rights violation. Sex slavery often involves abduction, deception, manipulation, physical or psychological abuse, restrictions of freedom and control over the victim's life, and being sold, traded, or kept on purpose, and sex exploitation. In this case, he's paying the guy to go in there. He's masturbating, watching this guy have sex with his girlfriend, which is basically watching like live porn, which I think is freaking disgusting. And I just think, bro, like this guy, listen, I want justice to be done. This guy, I've followed Diddy since Biggie Smalls and all the rumors and all this stuff and how disgusting he was and how he would treat all those people that were on that show, making the band. And he's just a soulless, disgusting human being. And, you know, I pray for his soul, but he's got everything that he has coming to him. He's never going to see the light of day. Diddy is finito. With all this shit and all this stuff that they've done, he's going to be the fall guy too.
Yeah, they
I feel
flipped
like
on him.
It's our generation's like Epstein. You know, my generation's Epstein situation. You know, like
This
I
is
would not
it.
be surprised. We're going to see that it's going to have a lot to do with underage kids as well. And same thing, trying to get footage of celebrities in compromising positions so that they can maintain some type of control over them.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
and-
it's about at the
and
end
just,
of the day.
by the way, and again, this is just an opinion. Just from hearing all the rumors of him with Justin Bieber, okay, and seeing the videos of him when he was young, very young, and then seeing him again, and then recently seeing him and patting him down. I think every time this guy makes the news, Justin Bieber's been falling off, and he just looks rough. And that kid's been dealing with a lot, and I think it's because he had God-given talent. He went into an industry that was filled with disgusting, perverted, demon-ass pedophile people that all took advantage of him. Dude, there's a video that I still am so confused when I see it. It's a party, and it's
Diddy?
Trey Songz, Diddy, and again, allegedly, I don't know. I know it was Diddy. No, it wasn't Diddy. It was a Diddy party, but there's a camera that swings around, and they go, "Hey, yo, Odell Beckham," and you see Justin Bieber's head come up from his crotch, and he looks in the camera, and he's very confused. It's a really disturbing video besides all the other ones that you've seen. But you guys look it up. Go on X, for you guys at home, and X. Put Diddy, Odell Beckham, Justin Bieber party. And look at how weird it looks. His head comes out from underneath his crotch, and it's very, 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 very weird. But anyway, I think that was a good show, guys. Make sure this Saturday, 1 o'clock, you check out Amy Dangerfield's Dangerous Conversations. It's going to be out. Amy, you know I have to watch it because I have to support you. Obviously.
Obviously.
Thank you for
Can
the
I say
plug.
something?
Oh, wait. Do you want to say the
Okay. Next year is going to be peak America. We've been dark, gloom, pedophiles, demons, and everything. But just think of this, all right? The future actually looks bright. And next year, we're going to have the World Cup. We have the first in America. We're going to have the 250 years anniversary of this great country. And we have the first American Pope.
That's
all right?
awesome.
Trump promised a golden age. Is shaping up good. These things are going to be solved. They're all going to jail. We're going to know the truth. And let's keep our head up, okay? This looks, imagine if things turn out differently in November, okay? This looks a lot less grim. We're still angry, but I think things are turning around, and we're going to have a great run for the next 20, 30 years.
Are you happy about the plug? Give us a quick 2-3 minutes about the. Because yesterday you were live streaming it. I thought he was watching like a football game, like a soccer game. He was watching. He's like, the smoke's coming.
Well, it's crazy because I'm not so familiar with religion, but I was grabbing clips of them showing the black smoke for Tuesday's podcast.
Yeah.
And they showed the black smoke, and then you could hear the entire crowd be disappointed. I'm like, wait, there's people that gather for this? And then I believe you're the one that sent the link where it was like 300,000 people watching a live stream of this election.
600,000 people at
insane.
peak. And that was not the official stream. That's EWTN. That's the official Catholic network. Not the official stream. So I don't know, maybe like 2-3 million people were watching it live.
Wow.
He's not my most disliked candidate. Like my candidate was Sarah, from Guinea. He's an absolute Chad. But this guy, give him a chance. He's not an absolute disaster. He's the first American Pope, and I think he can be like a good. He's not Pope Francis, so you understand.
Yeah.
He decided to wear the original robe that the Pope wears, So that's a good sign. He picked a name because the name that they pick for their papacy is very important to see what they're going to do. Pope Leo was a true absolute Chad, very against communism. So I have great hope for this guy. I think we need to let him cook a little bit.
Okay.
I don't appreciate all the people like Lara Loomer, like jumping on the train and
She's
just
saying that he's a Trump hater.
he's a Trump hater. Like, what does she know? Like, why does she care? You know, like I like Lara Loomer sometimes, but sometimes she's too much. So I think most Catholics that are in the mainstream media, they're gonna let him cook. They're gonna see
how
where
much influence does he still have today? Does the Pope still have?
Like on me, 100%.
No, I know, but like on the world, like where do you think he ranks in terms of most powerful people in the world?
People that are true Catholics. There's 2 billion Catholics in the world. That's
a lot.
And we're growing. We're growing at a faster rate than any other religion right now.
And if you claim to be a Catholic, is his final word. So like whatever he says, you do. That's what it is.
Period.
Yeah.
Period.
If it says jump, you say how high. All right, guys. Great episode. Guys, have a fantastic weekend. Take care of each other. Dude, I woke up today. I didn't even know it was Friday. I swear to you, I woke up and I was like, who am I?
It was like a train crash.
This is a
Unbelievable.
crazy week. We have a lot going on. But like I said, take care of each other, love each other, and we will see you guys next Wednesday. Peace and love.
Bye.